and I'm gonna hand it over to Nick Cruz here from Revolutionary Blackout Network.
All right, thank you. So, do you guys understand that more children was killed in Gaza in the last 7, 8 months now? Actually, I'm gonna say 5 because this is when I got the data point because it's way worse now. So in the first 5 months of Gaza, more children was killed in the last 5 years of all wars combined. All wars combined. So we're speaking at Kansas University, KU, bring back memories. You know, people in Gaza, they have no university to go to. Israel wiped them all out. What was once considered off limits, hospitals. Barack Obama drone strike the hospital once and they went on an apology tour for a week. Now you have in Gaza, Israel wipe out the entire medical infrastructure in Gaza. And we are living in a society that's pretending this is normal. We have the International Criminal Court. It's rumored that they are going to issue an arrest warrant on Benjamin Netanyahu. The response of the Biden administration and the United States government is to threaten the International Court of Justice with sanctions and throwing their weight to protect a genocidal regime. And as all this is happening, we have young people seeing how lawless our government is becoming in the streets. And we are being met with a massive police state that is retaliating with massive force, and they also train with the IDF as well. Just what a coincidence. So we have the ruling class that is rebelling against the concept of international law. Do you want to know what I find to be beautiful in a way, since we're talking about something a little bit negative? We have South Africa, who challenged Israel in the West in the International Court of Justice. Now, think about the lawyers, the judges, the legal team for South Africa. What did they grow up under? They grew up under apartheid, supported by the United States and the West, that was bankrolled and supported by Israel. So think about what's more inspiring than this. You have children that grew up under apartheid, under immense poverty and oppression, who then learned Western law. They learned the rules that the West created. They mastered the law. This is not the rules that they made. These are the rules that the Western imposed on the global South. They mastered the law, and now they took the West and Israel to court, and now that court found that they were plausibly committing a genocide. You want to know what the reaction of the United States was? There was a bill that they sent to Congress where they're now evaluating the relationship we have with South Africa because we are holding Israel accountable. So as they call students and young people who I have great admiration for, Gen Z is deeply motivational. Right now, you have what is even called the liberal media calling these people terrorist sympathizers, as our entire ruling class is rebelling against the concept of international law, where they will say, well, Israel is justified in doing what they're doing because of October 7th. We can ignore the reports that came out that show that IDF murdered more Israeli citizens. We can ignore that. Let's bring up the fact that under international law, there is no exception for revenge. So even if we was to accept the arguments that you guys are making against Hamas, that does not give the United States and Israel the right to commit massive human rights violations and break international law. Collective punishment is a war crime. So when you hear Israeli officials, even we covered Lindsey Graham, we covered many people in Congress that said we need to dispel the notion that there's an innocent Palestinian. I want you guys to understand that when someone does that, they are advocating for terrorist ideology. And I know that you probably had a lot to say, so I'm gonna pass to you soon, but do you guys understand? I'm gonna put it like this. How will you guys define a terrorist? I've been begging people to use the words the way they're meant to be used. A terrorist is someone who believes that they should be able to have the right to take out the enemy without regards to international law. A terrorist is someone who believes they have the right to take out their enemy, and there are no red lines.
What's poppin'? My friends, my family, welcome to another episode of Nick at Noon. I have a fantastic guest with me. I need a rant today. I was going to leave my hotspot video today. You have Mike Johnson, who sent a letter out saying that the United States is going to declare war on Iran if Iran retaliates to Israel's terrorist attack on Tehran, essentially guaranteeing war. So that video coming out soon. I was planning on that being the intro, but things were so crazy today. I was running around to get a chance to finish it. So I figured I'd show you my speech at KU I gave with Joe Stein, the only anti-genocide candidate running. I remember, and this is something that I predicted on RBN, all the people who had YouTube channels who never put their bodies on the line for the Palestinian movement, like Joe Stein did, who was arrested, for example, but they made money and monetized off of the pain of Black and brown people. And then those same people are now turning around and endorsing said party that is responsible for said genocide after making money off of the backs of Palestinian pain. Someone explain to me, who's more disgusting than that? You make money pretending to care about the Palestinian people, and then you turn around and support someone who is a diehard supporter of Israel? Someone who is an outright fascist? I remember when the left used to pretend to support BDS. If you're anti-BDS, you are an outright fascist. He is a governor that uses power in order to censor. We're talking about Tim Walz, Kamala's quote-unquote progressive pick. He uses power as governor to attack Americans and censor Americans who wanted to peacefully boycott Israel. These same scum will condemn the resistance. They will condemn Hamas. They will condemn anyone who want to violently resist the genocidal apartheid regime of Israel, as is the right of the resistance. But then whenever Palestinians or their supporters engage in nonviolent actions against Israel, they criminalize that too. So essentially they're saying that you cannot consent against Israel. What do you call someone who forcibly cracked down on dissent? They use the state power to crack down on dissent. The same way Tim Walz did during the George Floyd protest when we were protesting the police state that has ballooned. We got cop cities all over the place. We protested, we went in the street and showed our disapproval with this police state. And Tim Walz sent the police state to beat the shit out of protesters. And now you have the entirety of the Bernie left supporting this person. And I'm going to show you guys that here very soon. People who said they were supporting Joe Stein. But with that said, that's the intro. I want to get my friend Misty in here. You guys see, it's going to be one of those days. And since I knew it was going to be one of those days, I had to hit up my fellow rant connoisseur, our honorary RBN member, and amazing activist, amazing citizen journalist. Thank you for joining us. Once again, RBN Misty Winston.
Of course. The token white girl is back. Let's go. That's my favorite title. RBN's token white girl. It's my favorite.
Yep. Misty is the best. At least she's not like there's these white progressives that couldn't wait to sell out the Palestinian people. Anyone who's aggressively calling out the empire, anyone who's not enabling the enemy that is responsible for the most anti-Black, anti-Muslim, anti-brown and Black policies in modern human history, they're an ally. You have people that want to pretend they're an ally who march in the street with us, and then they vote for people who support and enable our genocide, that support our occupation through police states. And now we're going through the same cycle all over again. This cycle is very predictable.
Oh, God, it's so exhausting. It's so exhausting.
Misty, I want to get your thoughts because I already ran it. I want to pass it to you first, guys. I got a lot to say. This is not organic. The progressive support we are seeing for Tim Walz is completely inorganic. And this was the strategy we told you guys before on how these people who want to grow their channel, people who want to make money, remember politicians who want to raise money, they're going to pretend to support the Palestinian people when it's easy, when it's not election time. I told you guys, as it gets closer to election day, you're going to see these people fold one by one. Misty, I pass it to you for your thoughts over the fake fraudulent NATO Bernie left falling over 10 watts. I'll pass it to you, Misty, for your initial thoughts.
The speed at which these chodes were willing to sell out the Palestinians is disgusting.
They couldn't wait.
They were amped. They're amped. They're excited. They're pumped. They're out here celebrating. Oh, this guy he's progressive. Come on, y'all. Can we just please stop acting like these politicians who run around with platitudes and pretty words and, oh, well, he supports Medicare for all and he supports free lunch for kids. Really? You're still falling for that? Like, you're still falling for that? I don't know how many election cycles, right? I don't know how many election cycles it's going to take for people to recognize that. Guess what, guys? Spoiler alert. Politicians lie. They lie. They tell you what you want to hear so that they can get elected, and then they do nothing for you. How many times do you have to see that play out in front of your face before that hits home for you? It is absurd to me that anybody is taking this dude on his, supposed policies that he's been championing. We're seeing this picture of him surrounded by all these kids for the free lunch thing, and he's holding a little baby pig. Oh, isn't he so cute? He's like this nice, affable old white guy. It's absurd. It is absurd on every level, and he is still a Zionist. He is still controlled by AIPAC. He is still all of the awful things, and he's the vice president. Like, the candidate for vice president. Do you really think that any of the policies that he supposedly supports are actually going to be? Kamala Harris doesn't even have any policies. She doesn't even have an agenda. It's just a donate button. That's all that she's got. So the idea that anybody thinks that this guy is going to be the saving grace for any of us, or the idea that they were so quick to sell out Palestine for some empty platitudes about free lunches is just disgusting to me. I'm out of patience for it. As somebody who doesn't give a shit about electoral politics, this election cycle is nothing more than entertainment for me. Look at this guy. Yeah, he's so progressive.
This is the person that the Bernie left is aggressively supporting.
Yeah.
The person who's anti-BDS, the person and actually, I'm going to go to the point that you made, Misty, because it's fantastic. And this is what drives me crazy about the deeply unserious professional managerial class left, who I told you guys, their job is to sheep herd the working class movement into being dumb and ineffective. So this is the point I would make on Twitter, which they got no response for, that no one's talking about. For one, we are talking about the executive branch. You deeply unserious children. The president does not have effects on domestic policy. They will have to wait to Congress and the Senate to vote for it. You unserious clowns. In what universe is the United States Senate voting for free childcare? In what universe is the right-wing Supreme Court that you shitlibs always complain about is going to allow free childcare to pass without striking it down? RBN and the college dropouts, apparently, and our friends are the only people serious about politics and understand how our government works. The executive branch controls foreign policy. They sign on the bills. In the last week or two, Kamala Harris has been aggressively running away for her fake left positions. Remember when she pretended to be on the left after already being on the right in order to trick Bernie supporters to support her? And then when it didn't work, she then pivoted to the right to win over the neoliberals, and that didn't work either. But there was a small time where she's pretended she was for Medicare for all, and she long since abandoned it. And so for the last few weeks, the unserious right, who's wondering why they're losing to the polls to Kamala now, because they're trying to pretend Kamala Harris is the next Malcolm X, they've been painting Kamala as a progressive. So Kamala came out and said, guys, I fucking hate progressive politics. I am not a progressive. She has said this as loud as possible, my friends, over the course of the last few weeks. But what you guys will have me believe is this flip-flopper who do not have our class interests in line is going to rebuke her party and as president somehow pass a progressive agenda without the support of her party. Tim Walz was endorsed by Joe fucking Manchin. You guys know that?
Yeah, he was. He was. And somebody in the chat just said, I'm not voting for them, but this is a win. A win for who? Who is this a win for? This is a win for no one. All this is smoke and mirrors. All this is the attempt of giving Kamala Harris, and to, as Nick just said, shepherd people back into believing that this is going to be a progressive presidency, to get those left-leaning people to kind of filter back into the Democratic Party. They play this song and dance every single election cycle. And we're doing it again. And it's just ridiculous. At some point, y'all, can we please just stop?
So according to them, Misty, Senator Joe Manchin is here to help us facilitate wins for the working class. Apparently, they got this secret plan, and they tricked Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin was tricked. He don't know that Tim Walz and Kamala Harris is going to implement a brand new progressive agenda. Even though the vice president, as we mentioned before, has zero say over domestic policy. Meanwhile, you got these people with master's degrees who study really useless shit like political science. Telling you that Tim Walz is a great sign that Kamala Harris is open to left policies.
Ugh.
That is what these fucking idiots are saying. That's why Crystal Ball is celebrating. Let's go!
She's such a joke. Like, I can't. Does she follow you? Did that just say that she follows you?
It's a mystery.
Wow.
It's a
You know who
mystery.
follows me? Oh fuck, what's his name? Oh my god. Blanking. Sam. Right? What's his name? What's his
Cedar?
name? Yes.
Yeah,
Thank
they follow me too. They're keeping tabs on this.
Yeah, Sam Cedar has been following me for a while, which
You
is
guys wanna know what's
bizarre
interesting?
to me.
Crystal Ball followed me after I secured a Dr. Cornel West interview. And I released the Dr. Cornel West interview a long time ago. She followed me. I'm like, damn.
Interesting.
I don't know what she know what our critiques is now, because she was the person who we destroyed, because she said that if you support a third party, you don't support the Democratic Party, you need to grow up. Do you guys remember that when she was being a Biden girl before October 7th? And now she's back at it again. I'm gonna show you guys a few more, because I'm gonna get to Town Crystal here later. This is the message. Look, 59,000 likes. Jesus fucking Christ.
Those are not all real, though. Be serious.
Yeah, and to be
not
clear,
real.
I told you guys this is inorganic. This is inorganic. I'm clipping these motherfuckers. I'm not racial in them. I can't. It's impossible. But I'm going after these motherfuckers. They get hundreds of likes, thousands of likes. I can't racial them because they're bot boosted. These people are bot boosted, praising Tim Walz. And this is why I don't believe this is inorganic, because all these people came out with the same messaging at the same time.
Right?
There's no
I
deviation.
mean-
Let me read it for people. I'll pass it to you, Misty. Sorry. But I'm going to read
No,
it
it's
for
okay.
people who only listening. This is the vibe on Bernie Left Twitter. Harris choosing Tim Walz as her running mate sets a dangerous precedent that Democrats might do cool shit that voters love.
Oh my God.
You guys see how they're trying to cultivate a dumb left? Dumb shit like voters love, like supporting Israel.
Genocide.
You support arms ammunition to Israel. And you want to know the dumbest people in politics? These same people that say, don't you know that Kamala Harris called for a ceasefire? That these people call for a ceasefire?
Oh.
That means nothing if they support sending Israel ammunition. Kamala Harris also said something else, these deeply unserious political science degrees people don't know, apparently, that the college dropout like me know. You got to know Kamala Harris says the United States cannot tell Israel how to run their foreign policy. That is a direct quote from her in November. And that will be her policy because her husband, her AIPAC handler that she married, came out on corporate media and reassured corporate donors that she's going to support Israel. So her position is the United States cannot tell Israel what to do. So even if she says she supports ceasefire, that's just a kind recommendation. She's still going to continue to support Israel. And the progressives are trying to paint a different story. Like, this is not going to happen. Basically,
she didn't call for a ceasefire. She did the sleight of hand trick that politicians often do, where she said we need a ceasefire, paused for an applause break, and then said something humanitarian pause. So it wasn't actually a call for a ceasefire. It was a call for a humanitarian pause that she very stealthily hid amongst what seemed like a call for a ceasefire. And it's exhausting. And there's so much about Tim Walz. This dude, forget about the Israel stuff. He's also terrible on indigenous issues. He's terrible on pipelines. He's terrible. He's had protesters arrested and brutalized. There's so much, you guys. There's so much. It's not a win.
one of my homies was like, "Hey Nick, don't worry, bro, I got you." Big shout out to them. I don't know if they want me to name them, but big shout out to them. You know who I'm talking about. One of my homies to me was like, "Hey Nick, don't worry, I got you, bro. I got all the oppo you need on this guy." So Misty, trust me, we're gonna get there.
We might have the same friend.
Probably. We talk out straight. Probably the same guy. Probably the same guy.
Yeah. I don't want to name them because they send me stuff pretty on the down low. But yes, I think we probably have the same friend. We'll talk later.
You guys see. But this is in a nutshell, the record of 10 Walz on Israel. And what frustrates me, and I call this, and I hate when I'm right, man. It's one of the things I'm gonna be telling you. I told you so forever. I told you guys that these people who was pretending to care about Palestinians was only doing it because it was trendy. And the second that the election hit and it becomes trendy, the algorithm starts boosting you for supporting Democrats. They're going to flip on a dime because they have no principles. They're shameless. And I am honestly afraid of these people. The kind of people that can flip on the principle. These people were just saying a few months ago, I will never vote for genocide. I will never support genocide. Then they're like, oh, you know, actually, I'll support a little genocide. We get some free lunch. I am literally, it's terrifying when people can flip on the morals like that. And that's, I'm going to show you guys quite a few of these people. And what bothers me, and the worst, because a lot of stuff is standard, is the opposition to the BDS movement. This is the biggest red flag. This is what I fucking tore Nina Turner to shreds over when she, in an attempt to stave off AIPAC, and it didn't work. She threw the BDS movement on the bus. Which is a no-go because you're essentially saying that Americans cannot peacefully protest a genocidal foreign regime. It's a fascist policy that the Bernie left embraced. Nina Turner, guys, look it up. Look, I did a segment over it. When she was trying to court the Jewish vote over Chantel Brown. She's like, no, I don't support BDS. That's a fascist, anti-free speech position. And that's a sign, like John Fetterman, that they will sell you out on everything else because we're going through a John Fetterman situation all over again. Remember, I told you guys a story all the time. You guys went along with the riot. How much heat did I take for going after John Fetterman in the midst when it was hard? Like it was Dr. Oz being crazy, the Bernie left being all on board. And I was like, dude, God, fuck John Fetterman. I don't give a fuck if Dr. Oz won. And all those people was going hard on John Fetterman, and they still won't apologize and admit that me, you, Misty, and everyone who warned about John Fetterman was right. Because if you're weak on Israel, you're going to sell out on other issues. In what universe, and I'm begging someone to give me an example of someone who is selling out progressive ideas who then get elected and then shift to the left? What the fuck did that happen? Misty, go ahead.
Yeah, guys, they're going to push Kamala to the left. That was so successful with Joe Biden. I mean, why not do it again, right? We're almost like all the way to Marxism at this point, right? I mean, we've been pushing them to the left. Look at this. It's so great. But yes, the idea, and this is what frustrated me so much about the Kennedy people, is that they kept trying to pretend as if Israel is just one issue. No, it's not. It's not just one issue. It is directly related to so many different things. The free speech movement, the surveillance state. Who do you think makes the software for the surveillance state? Israel. The police brutality. Where do you think our cops get trained? By Israel. Where do you think the knee on the neck with George Floyd? Where do you think they learned that from? From Israel. I mean, it is not just one issue. This issue is directly related to so many things. And the idea that people are so able to compartmentalize these things and turn their brains off because they hear some cute platitudes. It's exhausting. Again, this is not new. This is every single election cycle. They pull this shit and everybody falls for it. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people fall for it. And a lot of people that should know better. But these people are just opportunists. I mean, this is nothing more than pure, unadulterated opportunism, period.
Picking a Midwestern populist is such a no-brainer, but still shocked they made the right choice. Crystal ball. The populist who was for cracking the heads of indigenous people and implementing Line 3 and pipelines.
Yeah.
Right? The
populist.
For genocide. The populist position to support a little bit of genocide, Missy, don't you know?
Just a little, as a treat. Come on. It's just a little treat. I will give her this. Midwestern was a good choice. I mean, Shapiro was also, I mean, not technically Midwestern, but pretty close, next door to the Midwest. But I think Midwestern does make sense in terms of the Electoral College. But it's still very cynical to pretend like this dude is a populist. It's absurd, actually.
And you told me about her, Misty.
Yeah.
Who I still don't like attacking Medea, but you warned me about her and CodePink, and they got a lot of liberal tendencies. And is this really a surprise that they falling for it? Yeah. A sigh of relief that Kamala Harris chose Minnesota Governor Tim Walz as her VP. This is very interesting, Medea, because I'm gonna show you guys here very soon that Tim Walz is a diehard supporter of the Zelensky regime in the war in Ukraine. So that issue don't matter no more?
Guess not.
I legitimately don't understand. Like, so do you guys care about stuff? And then every 4 years, August, September hits of an election, and then you guys stop caring about it?
Right?
I am legitimately confused. I want to have a conversation with these people, and I need you guys to explain to me, do you stop caring about stuff when elections hit? So now you're pro-NATO, Medea? Very unfortunate. He has a great record as a governor. Supporting Nazi in Ukraine means you immediately don't have a good record as a governor.
No.
Supporting the Zionist regime attempts to censor America makes you a fascist. And I don't care if you make the trains run on time. You guys, that's the argument that you guys are making. At least the trains runs on time.
Yeah. It's friendly fascism, Nick. It's fascism with a smile. Come on.
It's fascism, but at least I get something out of it.
Right?
I love fascism when I get something out of it. I hate fascism when I'm the victim. But if I get something out of it, if I can get some free universal childcare that's not going to happen, I will quickly sell the global working class. I don't give a fuck. I am a PNC leftist.
Hey, ZG, Medea does know better. In my opinion, I think she does know better. And that's what makes it incredibly troubling that she continues to do this, showing up to events with the squad and talking about how she's so honored to be there and all of that stuff. It's just, I mean, you have to be very careful. Not to say that CodePink doesn't do some good stuff and they bring awareness to some really critical issues and that Medea is a legend in terms of activists and things like that. I'm not trying to say that, but just be very mindful of the people that you're supporting and watch the way that they will very quickly sell out principles. When
I believe I can criticize people's ideas without canceling them. You guys know I don't
sure.
How many times
I don't cancel anybody?
People? I don't believe in canceling people, and I will cover you. I cover CodePink countless times. I will admit whenever you do good work, but at the same time, if you're putting out bullshit, I will go after you. And it's not personal. People on Twitter get their fucking feelings hurt because you guys are children who treat this shit like high school.
Yeah.
I don't care if you don't like me. I don't care if you think I'm mean. This shit matters to me, my community. Human rights fucking matter to me. I don't care if you understand my taste. If you get shit wrong, I'm going to correct you. That's why Dr. Cornel West hates me now, because he went on RB like, hey man, I want you guys to hold me accountable. And then I held him accountable, and this motherfucker got his fucking feelings.
Yeah, he doesn't like me either, Nick. He hates both of us.
Unlike a lot of you guys, I have friends in my personal life. I got brothers and sisters. I got a community that I cultivated, that I love. I don't need this fucking fake bullshit to feel like I have a community. And that's what a lot of these lonely motherfuckers are doing. They support Democrats. They support the squad. They are members of DSA because they failed to grow their own community. So they feel like they have no choice but to sell out and go along with the crowd. And that's why you have people saying, oh my God, Nick, why are you being such a nihilist? Don't you want to come on, man? We're trying to win. What do you mean we? I don't like all the tweets, but all these people arguing with me. Like, come on, Nick. We got a chance to beat Trump. What do you mean we? All these people saying we got a chance to beat Trump. The fuck you talking about?
And what does that even mean? We have a chance to beat Trump with somebody who's awful like Trump. I mean, what the fuck does that even mean? I'm so tired of the Trump fear mongering. Oh, I'm so sick of this shit. I'm so sick of the Trump fear. Listen, it doesn't matter. Kamala Harris or Donald Trump. Guess what? the establishment wins. Period. The establishment always wins. They will get their way. The agenda will continue. You will continue to get fucked over. The military-industrial complex will continue to destroy countries all across the globe, unaccountable, and everybody's going to pretend like it's somehow better than Trump. And it's simply because, as I just said, it's fascism with a smile. That's what Democrats are. They're just friendly about it. They're just nice about it. So beating Trump, what the fuck does that even mean? It's the same fucking thing. They're the exact same agenda. These motherfuckers are all owned by they're owned and operated by the exact same people. There is no difference. The only difference between these two parties, it's really just the one, but the only difference is the demographics to which they pander to. That's it. That's it, guys. That is it. Stop pretending like there's a difference. There is not. In any substantive, just look at Trump's presidency. Look at the way that the military-industrial complex agenda continued. Look at the way that, Operation Warp Speed and all, the transfer of wealth to the top 1%, all of that stuff just continues, just like it did under Obama, just like it did under Bush. It has been the same for a very long time. None of them are any different. It is absurd to keep pretending like that's the case. Seriously, we have got to stop. We have to stop. It's exhausting. We're not going to get anywhere. We're like hamsters in a wheel. It's absurd.
Bro, 73,000 lives for someone who pretend to be on the left, but he don't. Genocide is not his red line, though. And the funny thing is, I was talking to this guy. He's like, "Don't you know I cover Palestine, nigga? That make you a grifter.
Good for you.
You cover Palestine, but you gonna endorse the people responsible for the genocide? Doesn't that make
that's
you white
gross?
a grifter? So you got these white boys who make money off of black and brown pain. This is my same criticism of Jordan Sheraton.
And then throw them under the bus.
How the fuck are you gonna go and cover Flint and then support the party responsible for that? Like, how are you gonna cover genocide, make money off of genocide, and then your white ass then endorse the people responsible? That makes you the worst.
Yes. And Jordan Sheraton fundraised off of, I'm going to do a documentary on the Flint thing. Where's the documentary? It never came out. He sure did write a book, though, and he's slinging his book around now to make profit off of Flint. It's just, all of this stuff is so gross. And somebody just said your volume is really low, and it could just be that I'm very loud. I don't know.
Guys, by the way, I know I hear you guys' critiques. I am I'm a working class journalist. I get by because I got low standard of living. I have a hard time investing in shit, but I am going to invest in a new mic. I've heard the critiques before. Trust me, it's something I'm working on. I'm going to get a mic. It's something I'm working on. I'm also working on getting a new camera. You guys see I got a new setup that I'm working to build. I'm working on getting a new camera and light. So you guys know I have low production value, but you guys know we're here for the education. We are here for proletariat education. So I apologize, as I always do, that I can't provide high quality production, but I will educate you guys. I will tell you guys the truth about what the empire is doing. And I'm going to show you guys how defeatist these people are. Here, Mark Lamont Hill, who was fired for critiquing Israel. It's the thing that Tim Walz supports, the thing that the Democratic Party support. He was fired for CNN for being too critical of the state of Israel. And now here he is supporting one of the most unhinged regimes we have ever seen in terms of enabling Israel. You know how I know that? Because they enabled a goddamn genocide. I saw the report. I'll have it saved, so I may go over it later with you guys. I saw a report now that showed the death toll is around 250,000. So when people say that Trump is going to be worse, as I explained before, that's genocide denial. You understand? By saying that Trump and J.D. Vance is going to be worse on Israel, by engaging in that form of lesser to evilism, that is genocide denial, because you deep down inside is denying the reality of what the Democrats is currently doing. What your vote enabled. The reality is Biden did the genocide. There is nothing more that Trump or Republicans can do. The fact that you believe that Trump and Republicans is the lesser of two evils is the belief that Joe Biden is somehow reining Israel in, which is absurd. Here he said Kamala Harris choosing Walz is very significant. In which way? It is a reminder that we can and we must use our voices to get the outcomes we want. I thought you was asking for a ceasefire, sir. Did that happen? This electoral politics means nothing. Do you get the results in Gaza that you've been asking for, Mark Lamont Hill? No, we have 250,000 dead. You have Kamala Harris that said she is not going to tell Israel how to fight their battle. So did we get what you want? You guys see, it's about Democrats winning. These people gave up. They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck.
They're comfortable.
You're saying it. I'll pass right to you, Misty.
It's
but
fine.
This is him literally saying it. For many folk, it's not excitement. It's a sober and pragmatic strategy of harm reduction. Oh wait, I don't think I have it up. Here's the tweet I was reading. And here's the part of him giving up. Like you guys see, this is they admitting that it's all about harm reduction before they pretended to care about genocide as a red line. Now it's about the lesser of two genocides, if that makes any fucking sense. And now this is the part that shows the mindset of these progressives who are now pro-genocide. Look at this. I don't know what this person said. I think they blocked me. I'm blocked by a lot of people. People are going to, man, it don't even matter that I didn't say it. People are going to read what they want to read and believe what they want to believe. I give up. And the context of this was him being grilled over supporting quote unquote harm reduction. And it's to the point now where they're not even trying to explain it to us no more. He gives up, guys. He gives up fighting the establishment. But sorry, Misty, I pass to you. Feel free to go off.
No, I mean, you're right. I mean, and this idea that it's harm reduction is also disgusting to me. There's no harm reduction here. Again, this is nothing more than platitudes. This dude is not going to bring anything to the table that is going to objectively or substantially improve the lives of anyone. This is going to be, they're going to pretend like he's going to be this leftist saving grace. He's going to be this progressive. It's no different than, them using Bernie Sanders as the sheepdog. It's all of this stuff is the same. It's the exact same stuff that they do ever. And also, can we please stop pretending? People keep saying she made such a great choice. Kamala Harris made the right choice. She made zero choices. This choice was made for her. The idea that Kamala Harris is making this decision is ridiculous. She's not making this decision. The donor class is making this decision. And they've poll tested and committee approved this guy and decided that he is more he's more sellable. He's more marketable to the demographic of people that they're trying to fool. And that is what is happening here. And they're falling for it. I mean, listen, it's been effective. The PMC left is absolutely falling for this hook, line, and sinker. And they are enthusiastically supporting the people who are going to continue the genocide. The genocide. Again, this is not like a disagreement about unions, or not that these issues aren't important. This is an actual fucking genocide, and they support it very clearly. And not only do they support the genocide, but they support anybody dissenting against. They support the imprisonment of anybody standing against it and dissenting against it. So that's who. Oh, hey, Sabby.
Biden fired employees that put together evidence of Israeli war crimes.
Mm-hmm.
You have Lily Greenberg Hall, who blew the whistle and explained how the Biden administration has a culture of racism.
Shocking.
You want to know who didn't quit? You want to know who didn't quit? Kamala Harris.
No.
Here's Sabby Sabs, who I'm going to have on Wednesday. I look at my schedule, like, bro, it's been forever since me and Sabby did a show. I was like, what the fuck? So I'm planning on having Sabby on here on Wednesday. Sabby Sabs killing the game as always. Very proud of my sister, who's able to grow the channel without selling out to the Democratic Party like these shameless motherfuckers have done. Because I'm gonna show you guys, for people who don't know, how shameless Crystal and Cal in particular are being. Because didn't they endorse Jill Stein? What happened to that? We get to that here soon. Here's a Sabby. Mark spent every day since October 7th on his channel discussing Gaza and debating Zionists. He voted for Jill, and now he wants to vote for Zionist Democrats, and people call us sellouts? People are the most upset at the people who don't sell out on the principles.
Yeah.
Because they make them look bad. Then they start questioning your intentions. Like, how the fuck he's not selling out? What the fuck is that about? Well said.
You're just
we
a
invited Marco
grifter.
on Hill so many times. Zoya, we were talking to Zoya earlier. We invited him on so many times, declined. And we're talking about like years now.
Marco Hill? That's not surprising.
Yeah, it's not surprising to me. I wasn't the one who asked, but
he's an absolute opportunist.
We send invitations to a lot of different people to talk about politics. That's why I had libertarians on before, like Lion Cosgrove, right? I have a lot of people I disagree with. I had Pasta on, who more like a libertarian.
Did you have Kyle on, or did you go on Kyle's show, Matovic?
Yeah, I think I had him on. I think if you're talking about the guy,
I love Kyle.
I had a lot of people on I disagree with. Arnaud Bertrand is more culturally on the right. Had him on, we talk about Ukraine. Guys, I invite people on all the time that RBN don't agree with. We are on the blacklist. These people know who not to fucking what channel not to go on. You guys remember how Chuck D came on our show? And we were talking about this as RBN later. Chuck D came on, it was a shit show. He was destroyed in the debate with Rome and in our panel. But Chuck D told us, he's like, man, all the other motherfuckers are afraid of y'all. I came on your show. And we was like, later, we were like, oh, that's an interesting statement. What do you mean other people are afraid of us? And Chuck D, props to him, despite the shit-lived nonsense came out of his mouth. He like, man, other people are afraid of y'all, but I still came on. Who's other people? There are a lot of people who know RBN who put us on blacklist, but they pretend they haven't done that. And Mark Lamont Hill, I promise you, is one of many of those people. Because there's all these black liberals, all these black fake progressive liberals who RBN we reached out to because they're in our community. And we were like, we want you to justify your shit liberal behavior. And they always decline, my friends. Do you guys think that's a coincidence?
Hey, hold on. Bender Rodriguez. I'm not talking about that Kyle. Not that Kyle.
Yeah, not that Kyle.
I'm talking about Kyle Matovic, who's a libertarian. He's a good friend of mine. He hosts his own show. And listen, I have a lot of libertarian friends. I was just recently called a Nazi for that, which makes me laugh.
You realize the biggest criticism that I and Misty get is that we have the audacity of talking to other people
that we don't always agree with.
I had Haas on.
How dare you?
I don't agree with everything he said, but I think he's an interesting dude. They got a communist party they started. So my mindset was like, man, this dude is making a lot of people upset. He said a lot of interesting stuff. We may not agree with this, may not agree with him all the time, but I'm gonna invite Haas on to have a conversation. Fam, the fucking meltdown.
Dude, I get it all the time. I get it all, and I have been for years, and I've just it just makes me giggle at this point, but I had somebody throw a full-on meltdown in my mentions the other day because I dared to retweet the Libertarian Institute because they're in the middle of a fundraiser, and it was like, hey, I'm not a libertarian, but these guys do pretty good work. They're super anti-war. They publish a lot of books, including, by the way, Scott Horton's upcoming book about Russia-Ukraine, which I can guarantee you is going to become the go-to on that whole situation. He is, in my opinion, he is one of our most important anti-war voices currently, right now, today. And he's a libertarian. So listen, I don't care. I don't care what ism you subscribe to. I don't give a fuck. If you can help me get some shit done that is important to me, I'm down. Let's work together. Let's do it.
I don't people that was like, oh, I'm gonna cancel you. Can you talk to Jimmy and Haas? I literally unapologetically told them to fuck off. And they'd be like, niggas agree, but at the same time, I'm telling people to fuck off. I'm not here to grow this fucking platform. You are not gonna tell me who I talk to. And there's the PMC class believe that they can gatekeep who we talk to as they endorse pro-genocide capitalist scum. You have Ryan Graham and these people who are literally friends with traitors but they believe that we're bad because we have conversations with people we disagree with. I completely reject that. I have confidence in my politics. I know I talk to people, I will influence them. So there's been countless people who cancel me, who love my politics, love everything I said, but they're like, man, how dare you talk to Jackson Hinkle before? Fuck you. I don't care. That legitimately always will be my position. I am pro talking to people. I am not like antisocial East and West Coast elites who are afraid of their goddamn neighbor. I live in the Midwest. I am surrounded by redneck motherfuckers and conservative, hyper-religious motherfuckers, and I love them because they're my community, and that's how I roll. And if you don't like that, tough love. Tough love.
I'm in the same position. Small town Ohio, surrounded by Trump voters.
Man, bro, for real.
They're good people. They're good people. They're just propagandized to be angry at the wrong things and the wrong people. That's it. And listen, the propaganda game in this country is incredibly strong. And if you are willing to just dismiss people based on the fact that they currently don't get it, that's hugely self-defeating because a lot of these people, even now currently, if you approach them on certain issues in the right way, they agree with us on a lot of shit. Now, if you come at them and start talking about it in certain ways using certain buzzwords, they will flip out and their brains turn off. But if you approach them like a human being and have a conversation with them about what's important to them, what matters, that kind of stuff, you will very quickly find that they agree with us on a lot of stuff. They are just victims of different propaganda than liberals are. That's just it. That's it.
Yeah,
I didn't say they're all good people, Matt. Seriously?
But
there are shitty people in every group. I didn't realize I needed to make that clarification. That's pretty obvious.
there are people who still haven't forgiven me for having the audacity of talking to Jimmy Dore. It's always funny.
I get that too.
Let's continue some super chats, and I'm gonna show you guys the Traitorous, Crystal and Cal, and these people who pretended to be supporting the anti-genocide coalition. Now they are all in for 10 watts. Green voting before VP announcement on Thursday. Thank for the $10. I'm supposed to be on. I think there's a call I'm supposed to be on. They have a process where they're gonna select the VP. I'm not in the internal Green Party assignment, but I think there's gonna be a Zoom call on there. I think I'm gonna attend. I think me and Savvy attending. People keep asking me to speak. I'm like, bro, if you ask me to speak, I'm not gonna say no. Not gonna happen. I'm always down to spread my politics. People are like, Nick, why are you doing so much stuff with the Green? Because they asked me to speak. You got everyone else to put me on blacklist. I'm on blacklist everywhere. Meanwhile, Joe Stein and Sean was like, hey, Nick, we fuck with you. Let's put you on. Of course, I'm gonna share my message in that situation. Period. And that's why I'm excited to speak at the DNC in Chicago with Joe Stein and Shama, who I will be with, who's not falling for the pro-genocide bullshit, for example. Anyway, let's continue. I want to make sure we don't get buried on super chats. Misty, let me know how you're doing on time.
I'm fine.
I already knew I had you on the show. Like, bro, we see what
I always prepare myself to go pretty long when I'm on with you. Like, I get it.
You let me know. Let me know. Thank you for $10, Kat, Terrell. Because I still want to cover Iran. What else is my notes, man? I went on this. I was so furious all this shit that's going on. I didn't even get to. There's so much I didn't get to. I didn't do a segment over the Russian prisoner swap and with the guy being a spy. I never had time. I didn't have time to do that. I didn't have time to do the Josh Shapiro story, which I still don't have. I guess it's not really relevant anymore. But well, let's see what we can get through. We still got a few more things to cover here. Did I read this one? Sorry, only a spin in the ocean. No worries. We still appreciate the support. Thank you for the 59 pal. Nick, as you recommend, I contacted a local communist organization in Austria to see if they are a serious organization and if I can help. One small miracle in Austria happened. A new party was formed that was explicitly pro-Palestinian, I think you're saying, and it got on the ballots. Very interesting. We laugh, we cry, we have fun, we rage, we rant on RBN. But just like I said yesterday, every time I go on Jimmy's show, people are like, why you go on Jimmy's show? I go on Jimmy's show. How do I end every single appearance I made on Jimmy's show? The last time I was just on the show a few weeks ago, I told everyone, despite all the fun we are having right now, we need you to hit the streets. We need you to organize. That's the only reason I do this shit. You understand? There's not a lot of money in this. I do this in order to increase the enthusiasm for mutual aid. And I will always hold my head high because the amount of people that tell me, like this person here, that said I motivated them to get involved. That's the only thing we can fucking do on YouTube. What other revolutionary potential is there on YouTube other than to motivate other people to do stuff, which is my main goal, and I'm glad that you getting involved. It made me very, very happy to hear that. I see we have just 3 more, and then we get back on track. Here's from Colin. You and Nico were the only people keeping me sane during Savvy Sav's panel.
I couldn't even watch it.
Bro, I couldn't either. I watched like in spurts. I watched 30 minutes. It was like broken up like 10 minutes each. And I fast forward to Nico part because Nico destroyed the Kamala supporters. So I wanted to make sure I watched this part. And I told Savvy, like, man, I'm sorry, Savvy. You know I always trying to support you, but bro, that one was tough. that one was tough. It
was honestly, I love Savvy, but that was awful. I could not watch it. I watched the one clip that she posted where I forget the woman's name, didn't realize that Israel was related to police brutality. And I DM Nico and I'm like, please tell me that Savvy gave you an opportunity to educate her on that. And he's like, yeah, it's fine. And I'm like, oh my God. I was like, wanted to jump through the screen. I was like, oh, I don't know how anybody could not be aware of these things, but it's totally, it's incredibly pervasive. A lot of people just do not recognize the connections.
Let's get to some. Sorry, I was trying to get something ready. That's why I'm probably looking off there in the background. Let me continue to super chat. I see 3 more, and then we get back to the last part. Thank you for the 1999 Colin. Remember when
we went? I think he means
we went to the squad event last year. Medea was here. And
yeah, we just talked about that.
Happy to see the squad. She said nothing when I called out the squad for their inaction. CodePink is controlled opposition. And I've seen that squad worship, and it's crazy they still do it to this day, which is extremely weird and sus, but I do appreciate the good actions they do. Thank you for the 1999. Lon, good stream yesterday. good production discussion of the American Communist Party by Zoya and Sarah at the end. It's good to see people trying to improve their community. And as I said before, I don't agree with Jackson Hodge on everyone, but I saw, as Zoya mentioned, because she sent me this, they was organizing and feeding homeless people in their local community. They were actually doing so. I see a ton of people with anime profile pictures, people who do nothing. They try to gatekeep what it means to be a communist. And as you guys see, that was one of my frustrations with CJ. I called him out on that. Like, bro, you admit you don't read theory. Like, bro, who are we to gatekeep? If someone is engaging in pro-revolutionary action, why the fuck are you guys ankle biting? It doesn't make, like, these people have more anger, and the same people that I seen upset about the American Communist Party are the same people I see tweeting pro Tim Walz shit. Like, they have way more heat for people who are outside of the duopoly, who's organizing against the empire, than they do Democrats. Like, these are the same people who would never in a million years say anything mean about Medea Benjamin, even though she support Democrats. You know what I mean? Like, Medea Benjamin, I remember the shit we got when we criticized status quo. There are certain people that are like off guard. Like, you can't touch them, even though they support Democrats. You know what I mean? But then there are like post-duopoly, anti-imperialist minded people, and these fake communists and Twitters who have like anime profile pictures, they never show themselves, they never organize in real life. They spend all their time attacking Jackson, Haas, and these people. Jackson, who we had very public arguments before, he was just talking to Nicolas Maduro. So
I don't trust him. I don't trust Jackson, but I don't talk about him. I don't have like, I don't care. I don't care.
Yeah, I'll have my point. It made it sound like I was pro Jackson there because my point
I don't trust him.
One person is visiting Maduro in Venezuela and doing stuff, whether you like it or not, while you guys are sitting home not doing anything. What side do you think I am more likely to support? I'm more likely to support the people that are actually doing stuff, whether I actually agree with it or not, than people fucking just ankle biting. And that's what Sarah and Zoe was saying before. There are a lot of people who are upset because I have this idea where I get people benefit of the doubt. I want to talk to people. That antisocial belief, that distrustful behavior is just not in my nature. Maybe I'm a Midwestern bumpkin where we all get along here, but I don't want to see the good in people. I want to see where you stand, and if we disagree, I want to talk to people about it. And that politics make people extremely uncomfortable, and I don't get it. But here's the last super chat from Old Crow. The illusion of choice, Zionists on the left and the Zionists on the right, either way, Zionism wins because Americans can't seem to understand they can vote third party. Once again, that's exactly on point. I did another super chat. This will be the last one, so I just came in. Can't stand that Mac Politic guy. I get high every day and I can see the BS of Tim Walz. I talked to that motherfucker before. His dad worked for CNN and shit. You guys know that? That guy told me back when he was pretending to be radical. When he was pretending to be radical, he was like, man, I just want to make sure I get a big YouTube channel, bro. I got the receipts, bro. RJ used to be friends with him. Once again, there are a lot of people that used to be in our community that were not far left because I wanted them to be. RJ was one of them, unfortunately. He was a liberal. He still is a liberal. And he was friends with Mac. And he would come on a show like, what the fuck, man? And he would do this thing where he sound radical, but he loved the squad. He still loved the squad to this day. He's a big fan of Kyle Kalinske. I remember he posted a picture with them. Was like, oh my God, I finally met my hero. Kyle Kalinske. RJ liked him for some reason. Come on, dude. And anyway, not good. Anyway, let's move on because this is his hero. It's always fun. You can easily find it, guys. You can find a tweet where he posted me with Kyle. Like, this is my hero. Finally met my hero, Kyle Kalinske. Fucking ridiculous. Here's Kyle. Kamala objectively made the best possible pick. Look at that policy record, dog. We're so back. Regardless of this policy record or not, he is elected as vice president. The executive branch controls domestic policy, and he has zero impact on domestic policy. And the Kamala Harris team vetted him. The Kamala Harris team over the last few weeks said they reject progressive policy. They don't support Medicare for all. They don't support none of this shit you typed here. And as VP, that is how he's going to operate. In what universe does the VP completely shift the political dynamics of a political party? This is unserious shit. And they don't talk about how government works. They don't understand as vice president, Tim Walz has no say over this shit. How is this going to pass the Senate? So you tell me Joe Manchin endorsed this person expecting this stuff's going to happen? Now, the reason why this is the ultimate betrayal, and this is why we got to call these people out, because do you guys remember after the massive heat that they got, being Biden supporters, Kamala Harris, Crystal Ball was getting ratioed in her breaking points videos where she was shilling for Joe Biden. Then they realized, because these people are grifters who say stuff for money, they want to be on the winning team. They want to be on the trendy side, guys. So when Joe Biden was in and Genocide Joe, all the protests was going on, they wanted to run away from that shit. But the second that the Democratic Party did this switch that I believe was always planned, was putting Kamala in, they was ready to switch, because all about being on the winning side, not being right. Because here is Crystal and Kyle, back when it was popular to say, I would never vote for genocide. This is when it was popular.
That I think they genuinely struggle to wrap their heads around what that might feel like to care so deeply about someone who you have no connection to.
And so energizing to see people like Crystal Ball and Kyle Kulinski giving their endorsement to our work together here to put an end to genocide.
Now Kamala Harris and Crystal Ball and Kyle Kulinski, they're unironically riding with Kamala Harris now. Why is no one talking about this massive betrayal? And this shows that they are grifters. They wanted to pretend they was all part of the anti-genocide third-party coalition when it was cool. But go ahead, Misty. I know you want to chime in.
No, I mean, it's just as you talked about earlier, and you know that this is, I think, probably my biggest pet peeve on earth, the inconsistency on principle. And it's not just this. I mean, obviously for myself, it's the free speech stuff. You know, they talk about free speech when it's convenient for them. And then the minute that it comes for somebody that they don't like, suddenly all of that goes out the window. It is exhausting. I can't trust anybody who is inconsistent on principle. That's just, I mean, to me, that's like a very basic thing. And these people are quintessential opportunists, and they are very clearly just saying whatever gets them the most clicks, views, likes, subscriptions, Patreon, all of that stuff. And that's obvious. And they've been this way for a very long time. And it is, it's frustrating to me that so many people still fall for it. Although I honestly think that a lot of people are starting to recognize the game that's being played. I think a lot of people are moving away from, they call it now, I don't know who coined the term. I don't know, but mainstream alternative media. That's essentially what they are. They're MSNBC light. They're, you know what I mean? Like there's this whole new dynamic in independent media where, you know, those people who are supposed to be alternative sources of information are essentially just mainstream media light. And so that I think is very interesting. I've talked about it numerous times. I think that there's this dynamic in independent media where once you reach a certain level and your income becomes dependent on subscribers and Patreon and all of that stuff, I don't even think that a lot of it, I don't even think some of it is conscious. I think that some people make the shift very subconsciously because they want to continue to bring in the most subscriptions and the most Patreons and all of that stuff. So they start to alter the way that they cover stories. They start to change the way that they talk about things. They start to kind of give like a broader position because they want to bring in the most people. And I think that some of it's subconscious, but I think that there are some people who are very clear opportunists, and they have a record. It's a pattern of behavior. Every election cycle, they cling on to a candidate and they push that candidate in order to fuel their own, their own personal advancement. And I think it's so obvious to me, but I mean, a lot of people still fall for it. It's very unfortunate.
Bro, if you look at Kyle Kulinski's fucking timeline, it's literally him lobbing the knob of Tim Walz, like countless tweets, bro. If you scroll down, it's literally nothing but praise for Tim Walz. And this was him not too long ago. Like, I don't know how much I can even suffer through. I was skimming through it. But I'm going to play this part just to show you guys how shameless these people are. I couldn't even sleep at night if I was these people. That you make money pretending to be anti-genocide, only waiting to this opportunity to trick people into supporting a ticket that will still be pro-genocide. It was all about your image. Joe Biden fucked up, and now you think you can trick people that Kamala Harris is pro-Palestine, that they will make things better. I've seen these people all over the timeline and say, Nick, you're wrong. Don't you know Kamala Harris says she supports a ceasefire? That's what Joe Biden says. That's the position of Joe Biden. But that's completely irrelevant considering their position is that we should send arms to Israel and not give them any conditions and tell them how to fight. Those two positions are at odds together, and they are telling that to trick you, and they are in on the trick. Now, I'll play this. I'm going to see how much we can tolerate. I already skimmed a lot of it. Because I'm going to do a quick rapid-fire questions to you about substantive issues. But this is a big news about Tim Walz. So
I like rapid fire. That's fun.
Yeah. So we're going to do that next, but I think this is big enough news for one main topic stream today on this. But I still want to ask you about some current events that are happening here. But let's watch this and we move on here soon.
It was grotesque, man. It was grotesque. And Jill also made another good point about how New York is effectively trying to keep the Green Party off the ballot by using dirty tricks. This is another thing that I was unfamiliar with. I mean, I know the myriad ways that they try to keep the Green Party off the ballot in multiple different states, but she gave specific examples of how New York is trying to do it. Again, there's another thing you don't hear the media talk about. And again, I'm ashamed to say that me, as somebody in media, I didn't even know about that, right? Jill also went on to make another phenomenal point about how if you look at some of these ideas that are now viewed as the duh positions on the progressive side now, a lot of it originated with the Green Party, man. Student debt abolition, free college, single payer Medicare for all, the Green New Deal, you know.
Yeah, and by the way, AOC stole the Green New Deal for the Green Party and turned it imperialist, by the way. But let's continue.
They've always led the charge in saying we're anti-war. So again, I want to wish Jill a very, very happy birthday. I want her to know that she has my support. I think.
Does she?
What happened to that? Now she don't, because Tim Walz, guys. And what I believe, and this is only a theory, because so you guys can have your own interpretation, that this was always the plan. This was because you still got up your subscribers during January through May, right? After October 7th, they was like, all right, what's the best way for us to up our subscribers? They saw that Jill Stein had a boom in the polls, which I reported on, that showed that she was already at 6%. She already hit the requirement to get federal funding, which the government was denying, which goes to Misty's point that the system is rigged no matter what. But it shows that Jill Stein was surging. So as Jill Stein was surging, that's when Kyle comes out and says that we all down for Jill Stein. And now you had this inorganic surge for Kamala Harris, and now all of a sudden they flipping right back. All of a sudden they pro Kamala now. We knew this was always.
Oh God.
You guys already knew this was a strategy because I sniffed this shit out a year and a half ago. It was a long time ago. I told motherfuckers about Marianne and how she always had the plan to support Kamala Harris. And she was already throwing out some fillers. She was throwing out some fillers before. So this before the vice presidential nominee. She was like, man, I saw this old video of Kamala Harris defending marriage equality. She was great. You got to see they opening the window of acceptance and endorsing Kamala Harris. Exactly why I told you guys, you can't come out immediately especially after everything that you said. You're going to slowly open the door saying stuff like, man, I heard Kamala Harris is really good defending marriage equality, right? And now she's going all in on Tim Walz. I thought it was funny because she responded to me calling her out when I said that they're looking for any reason to endorse Kamala Harris, which she then later proved correctly because, as I said, this is her looking for a reason to endorse the Democratic Party. I thought it was interesting that she responded. First of all, I didn't endorse her. Secondly, throughout my campaign, you made up any excuse to call me a fraud. So there's that. Marianne Williamson is still furious at RBN. I don't know, Marianne. Maybe I called you a fraud because you called me a mansplainer because I was telling you how the two-state solution Israel will never let happen. Maybe that's why. Because you called me a mansplainer. And also because you're a leftist, quote-unquote, peace activist who support NATO and made a fool of yourself on Glenn Greenwald. And
yeah, you're a fraud. Like,
so you're literally a fraud.
That you're a fraud. I mean, listen, I have my own stories with Marianne Williamson where, I mean, with the Assange stuff where she was incredibly rude to me, only showed up when cameras were around, that kind of stuff. So listen, call it like I see it. And when that's your behavior over the course of time, and it's not a one-off, it is a pattern, I'm going to call you a fraud. I mean, it's pretty simple. You can't support NATO and then pretend to be a peace activist. Those two things don't go together. That's like AOC. People got really mad at me when I called out AOC very early on because one of her first votes was to expand NATO. And I'm like, y'all, nope, we're not doing that. And people freaked the fuck out. Oh, she's new. You got to give her time. No, I don't. I do not have to give her time. You can't, I'm not into, you don't get to support NATO. And then pretend to be a peace activist and a progressive. There's nothing progressive about NATO. Nothing.
You see how these PNC scumbags never take responsibility for their own action. Dr. Cornel West got upset at us because you praised Alexei Navalny. Did I take your phone, sir, and make you type that tweet out where you praise Alexei Navalny? Did I make you go on Tim, whatever the fuck is that, Tim Black, and double down on that position? I didn't make you do that, sir. You did that. Did I make you leave the Green Party? You did that. And you guys see how Marianne Wilson, and this is like a class thing. I swear to God, these PLC scumbags never take responsibility. She says, throughout the course of my campaign, you made any excuse. See, it's me. It's about me, guys. It's not her.
It's your fault.
My fault. It's my fault she supported the NATO war. You guys see how they never take responsibility, but they want to be anointed leaders?
Yeah.
I didn't, as I said here, I didn't make that decision for you, Marianne. I didn't tell you to support NATO and make an ass of yourself.
Did you force her to be a Zionist? Did you do that? I don't think you did that. Did you do that?
I didn't force you to tweet that Israel has the right to defend itself. I didn't tell you to say that. You said that on your own accord, ma'am. Anyway, sorry. Let me move on. There's another one, another tweet here. I got this Wolvia one. I'm gonna ask you a few questions. I guess I do an interview. I interview you here soon. We don't do that often. So the last part of the show, I'm going to interview you. It's mostly been a one-topic stream for the most part. Here's, who is this guy? Bernard. I'm actually interested. Pro-America, pro-choice, anti-Trump. Oh, Jesus Christ, guys. The anti-Trump Republicans have the worst politics in the United States. They are the people who hate Trump because he doesn't do war enough. That's the right-wing Republican moderates that use it against Trump. They have, I promise to God, the worst politics. I've seen like these people, the moderates and Republicans against Trump, criticize Trump and pretended that he did something he did. They said, Trump, remember he's weak on dictators. He apologized for Kim Jong-un because Trump has the audacity to say, hey man, probably shouldn't be going to war with these people like that. Once again, they're not even a fair critique because the Trump administration with John Bolton doubled down on their policies against North Korea. But you guys see how the anti-Trump Republicans take good stuff Trump do, and then they paint it as a criticism? They do it all the time. Anyway, that's a rant beside itself. This is what he says, and this is neoliberals, and I've seen a lot of this as well on Twitter, that are just as shocked as we are, Misty, that Bernie and AOC sold out the quote-unquote fake independent media, the TYT Labs, the Sam Cedars. They're legitimately shocked at how much these people sold out. I'll show you guys a story, I believe it's from the New York Times, when they said, hey man, Bernie Sanders and Kamala Harris has been Bernie Sanders and AOC have been surprisingly good ally to Joe Biden.
Shocking.
There are these liberals that was legitimately scared of Bernie and his movement that's still shocked at how shamelessly they sold out. They thought that Bernie and
those
AOC
are the people who have been trashing me since 2016 for calling out Bernie and AOC. And now they're finally coming around? Like, no, duh. Really? These people are like professionals, supposedly, right? They're journalists and have political science degrees. How come some chick in Ohio saw it in 2016 and y'all are just now coming around? That's embarrassing. You should be embarrassed by that.
I'm going to read a tweet for people who are only listening. This is why I've been hyping up for a while, probably too long. But he says, as they bid about the weakened state of the left in the Democratic Party, that a moderate old white guy, vice presidential pick that had an A+ rating from the NRA. Once again, I'm pro-gun. That doesn't bother me, but that's what they claim to care about.
Yeah, I don't give a shit.
Vetoed an anti-Uber bill and was backed by AIPAC as seen by some huge win. I actually dug in to see if AIPAC formally endorsed him. I didn't find anything, to be clear, guys, but he is endorsed by J Street, which I believe is the Israeli equivalent. So he is highly endorsed by Israeli lobbies. You guys know how much I care about accuracy. I always try to be accurate. So to be accurate, I don't think he's endorsed by AIPAC, but he endorsed by something just as bad, probably worse, which is J Street. The Israeli lobby loves him. I see Zionists on Twitter, even though they are upset because they feel like Democrats are anti-Semitic for not picking Josh Shapiro. They are still very satisfied with the pick. Go ahead, Missy. Go
I can tell you. So shout out to Sam Husseini. If you guys aren't following Sam Husseini, you should be. He's a fantastic independent journalist. He's awesome. You might recognize him from occasionally in the briefing room. He goes hard at those idiots. So he did a fantastic Substack write-up today about Walz. And he said, Jewish Insider reports, quote, Walz also received AIPAC's endorsement during his House tenure, speaking at the pro-Israel group's 2010 conference, where he said, quote, Israel is our truest and closest ally in the region with a commitment to values of personal freedoms and liberties, surrounded by a pretty tough neighborhood. That's what Tim Walz said in his address in 2010 at the AIPAC conference. And he did, in fact, get the AIPAC endorsement during his House tenure. So I don't know if AIPAC currently supports him. I'm sure that they do because nothing has changed. He still supports Israel. But he has, in fact, had AIPAC's endorsement in the past. So that is accurate.
Thank you, Misty. Can you send me that? Can you send me that article that Sam Husseini wrote?
Do you want me to put it in private chat or Twitter DM?
Yeah, you put it in private chat right here. I'm gonna pull it up and I'm gonna save it later. I may do a whole stream on. I may not stream, but whole segment on that later. I want to plug Sam Husseini. He's a fucking legend, guys. He's the guy that
he's awesome.
They put up his Twitter. I want you guys to if you guys don't know who this legend is,
go follow him, subscribe to his Substack, support his work. He's a legitimately independent journalist. He's awesome.
He's the guy that I did quite a few segments of him fucking exposing the Biden administration. Amazing ally. I actually almost had him on the show before, but we had scheduling conflict. So
you should get him. I had him on my TNT show, and he was an excellent guest. He is so very fantastic. I love.
Yeah, so that's definitely coming. Zoya, if you're listening, we got to try it again. I tried only once, and we couldn't make it work. So I definitely got to try it again. He's as quality as it comes. So I'm gonna bookmark this. I'm gonna put this in my RBN segments tab here. Let me put this here because I'm gonna do a full segment on this because I can
shoot him a DM. I'll shoot him a DM if you want me to, and see if I'm positive.
You're an honorary RBN member, so it'll definitely be appreciated. You are represent. That'll be you represent RBN as the honorary RBN member, right?
I'm always happy to put people in touch with other excellent guests because Sam needs to be more. I don't know, public. Obviously he does great work and he has a Substack and stuff like that. He needs to be promoted more, I think.
Yeah.
Which link do you want in the chat? Do you want his Substack link or the Twitter page?
I know it's Substack. I already got what I need. I just want to get that. The Substack.
Well, somebody wanted it in chat so that they can go easy, follow him. So if you want to drop his Twitter link and then maybe the Substack link in the chat so people have it, so it's easier for them to go follow him.
Yeah, I gotta make sure I read this because I was scrambling. I was working with my hotspot team. They were on fire. Actually, I need to check their timeline because that's how I got this picture. Big shout out to my editor Greg, who always send me great stuff as well. We got a whole team, we got a whole community behind this, my friends. So they were sending me stuff. Hotspot was sending me stuff. Have a few other contacts sending me stuff. Bro, it was game time, bro. Especially since we saw the psyop that was going on with all the progressive left trying to pretend that he's the best thing that ever happened. We knew it was game time. I'm immediately fighting with those people. They hate me now. Oh, Jesus Christ! Hotspot already coming out with all this oppo. Man, we might have to do a Hotspot segment here. What have they been talking about? Kamala Harris reportedly barely knew who Tim Walz was.
Somebody said that when I tweeted out, come on, y'all, she did not make this decision. And somebody was like, yeah, she's pretending as if she's been vetting these guys for a long time and she knows it. She probably doesn't even know who they are. I would not be surprised if she did not know who he was.
Hold up, Greg, you cooking, bro. Hold up, let's listen to this clip. I think we just found some gold, bro.
Van Jones is
Greg. Look at this.
Yeah,
Misty, feel free to. I wanted to reply to what I haven't watched this, guys. We're doing this a lot. I'm kind of just finding shit now. We're just having fun, to be honest. Here's what my friends at Hotspot posted. Van Jones admits that Kamala's pick for Tim Walz was done in order to whitewash her own complicity with genocide. Exactly what I was just saying. Hold it. What a gem. Let's listen to this. Hopefully it says exactly what they say.
Do you think it was a little risky, though, Van, that she didn't go with Shapiro to kind of lock down Pennsylvania. I mean, yes, David Challing was saying earlier, just because you pick him as your running mate doesn't mean you automatically win Pennsylvania. But I got to think it would have helped just a little bit.
Hey, listen, the conservatives, the right wing, the Republicans, they were chewing their fingernails down to the knuckle because they were afraid of a Josh Shapiro. They were afraid of a Mark Kelly. They're not as afraid of this new governor because they think they can define him. So here's the challenge you've got in this party. And people don't want to talk about it. We got to talk about it. On the one hand, you have a lot of young people who are concerned about Gaza. You have a lot of Muslims and Arabs and others. They have not felt seen by the Biden administration. You start hearing that genocide joke that was building. And so those folks needed to have a candidate that they could feel comfortable with. This helps them in that regard. But you also have anti-Semitism that has gotten marbled into this party. You can be for the Palestinians without being an anti-Jewish bigot, but there are some anti-Jewish bigots out there. And there's some disquiet now, and there has to be. How much of what just happened is caving into some of these darker parts in the party? So that's going to have to get worked out. It's going to have to.
Bro, he said that way worse than I imagined.
Yeah. That was bad.
The description is actually better than what he actually said.
Yeah.
Greg, if you're watching, bro, the description is actually better. When you listen to the description, he's upset that the guy who was a traitor to our country, the IDF soldier, they assume that, and this is the message come from the mainstream media, that Josh Shapiro wasn't picked because he's Jewish. Tim Walz supports the same positions. As I explained, they picked Tim Walz so Crystal Ball, Cal, Jank, I didn't even show his tweet.
Could rally.
All these people could rally behind Tim Walz and whitewash the genocide that Kamala Harris is still responsible for. And I have a tweet, I think I had it up on the screen earlier, because it wasn't even about Josh Shapiro. I tweeted before Tim Walz was even picked that if you believe that Tim Walz being vice president would change the direction of the Democratic Party on Israel, you're deeply unserious. Because that is literally what a lot of people are saying. A lot of people are saying that Kamala Harris shows more empathy towards the Palestinian people.
No.
Ignoring the fact that her AIPAC handler, her husband that she married, went on CNN and promised the corporate media that Kamala Harris would support Israel no matter what. But anyway, that's go ahead, Mr. I'll pass to you. Sorry, I want you to try.
Well, there's a couple things. First of all, pat myself on the back because I'm pretty sure I'm the first person to come up with Genocide Joe. I tweeted it out, I think October 8th or 9th or something like that. I said I propose a new nickname for the noodle brain in chief. And I said Genocide Joe. So pat myself on the back there. I'm pretty sure that was
I remember that. I remember that.
Yeah. But also, somebody in the chat said something about Kamala Harris being a Zionist. I don't think she is a Zionist. I think she's an opportunist. I don't think she has any ideology. I don't think, you know what I mean? Like I don't think she gives a fuck. I think she is willing to say or do whatever is politically advantageous to her in that moment. And if that means supporting Zionism, if that means furthering that agenda, if that means throwing full-throated support behind Israel and its genocide, then she'll do that. So I don't necessarily, it's semantics because effectively that makes her a Zionist because she is willing to do that. But I honestly don't think it's an ideological thing. I think it's an opportunism thing. And I think that honestly makes her far more dangerous because that means that she is totally malleable by the powers that be and will do whatever they tell her to do. And I think that that's abundantly clear.
So you have the Bernie left, and I actually skipped a few because I didn't want this to be too long. I had a whole I still got like a whole outline of people, these progressives I say that was praising, but no point. You guys get the theme. No need for me to beat a dead horse, right? So let's move on and show you guys the guy that they're supporting. Governor Walz says he's building line 3 because that's what the law says. But that's not what the law says. The law grants major deference to state agencies, which are part of his administration. His narrow approach here is so disappointing. He did that because he supported pipelines being built illegally on indigenous people territories. This was an issue that progressives pretend to care about, that Tim Walz didn't support, right? And do you guys remember when they used to care about Medicare for all? I still remember to this day because it was one of the few clips of Cal I saw a long time ago. Like, man, that wasn't that bad. Well, he said, man, I still remember this to this day because it still weirds me to see his part. He was like, I would never vote for someone who don't support Medicare for all. My dad died because he didn't had health care. I would never vote for someone who don't support Medicare for all. He went from that. And guys, I told you guys, I used to put neutral on Cal for two reasons, because of that and because he used to criticize Russiagate. Wasn't a fan, but I was neutral on him. That's why it's weird to see someone who used to criticize Russiagate, who used to say stuff like, I wouldn't vote for a Democrat because anyone who don't support Medicare for all, now unapologetically, like, I'm all for Kamala Harris. Crystal Ball, in fact, said that if it wasn't for the genocide, and she said this on the show without shame, and if it wasn't for the genocide, she would be all in for Joe Biden. Which is how you know she was just looking for a reason to be all in with the Democrat in their agenda. Misty, anything you want to add as I find something else to cover here? Anything else you want to add, Misty?
No, I mean, just this. I mean, I highly recommend people going and taking a look at this Tim Walz guy's record, especially on these indigenous things. If you want, I think I've already tweeted several of them, but there's numerous articles where he had protesters arrested and all of that stuff. So this is not just an Israel issue. He's terrible on other issues as well. And again, not that it matters. He's not the one that's creating the agenda. He's not the one that's creating the party platform. He is a vice presidential candidate, and we all know that he is nothing more than just a forward-facing puppet for power, just as Kamala Harris is, just as Joe Biden is. Again, all of this pretending as if we can somehow magically vote our way out of the fascist state that we're in is just absurd on every level. And I really wish people would stop pretending like that's a real thing.
So, quick rapid fire segments as we wrap up. I don't want to go any longer than 90 minutes. So I'm gonna ask you about this. I have a hotspot video coming out very soon covering this very topic, which is why I didn't feel the need to do a super long statement on it today, because I already have a hotspot prepared on it. You have Lindsey Graham that submitted authorization for the use of military force in the Senate, and now we have the House Speaker. Remember the guy that Matt Gaetz went super hard for? Remember when people were trying to pretend that Matt Gaetz was anti-establishment? He got rid of. I don't remember the other guy name. What the other? I don't remember. I don't know these people like that. I forgot. Kevin something, right? Kevin McCarthy. Okay, there, I got it.
Oh,
Kevin,
yeah.
I remember there were a lot of delusional right wingers like, man, Matt Gaetz is a great anti-establishment fighter. He got rid of Kevin McCarthy because of Ukraine. Now he's implemented this guy, Mike Johnson, who is a pro-war maniac. Full-fledged support of Israel. He wanted Americans to die on behalf of Israel. So I'll pass it to you. I need to shut up. I got a hotspot video on this here very soon. This letter, in a nutshell, I don't have time to read it, essentially saying that if Iran retaliates to Israel, which they must do in order to reestablish a deterrent, that America must declare war with Iran with great intensity. Like, I don't see the exact adjective be used, but he said we got to declare war on Iran extremely forcefully, something like that. But Miss, I'll pass it to you very broadly about your thoughts, because this Iran war is happening. I want to get your general take on that.
Listen, we knew that this was coming. I mean, General Wesley Clark told us ages ago that there were 7 countries on the hit list, and Iran was certainly one of them, and it has been for a long time. So this has been we need to stop pretending like this is Israel leading us into a war with Iran. We wanted this. The United States has wanted this for a very long time. So we're going to use Israel as the excuse. Oh, we have to defend our ally in the Middle East, right? We have to. It's the only democracy in the Middle East. We have to defend them. Like, that's going to be the line that they try to sell this war with. That's how they're going to manipulate people and manufacture consent for. But it has nothing to do. I mean, it does sort of have something to do with that. But really, this is something that we have been itching for a very long time. And the idea that anybody is advocating for sending American troops to die on the ground for Israel and Iran is insane. And I struggle to even wrap my head around the lunacy that it takes to want to enter into something like that. Listen, in my opinion, we're already in World War III, and we have been for some time, but that makes it incredibly hot. Like, that would make it, that would be devastating for the entire globe. Iran doesn't fuck around. You know what I'm saying? They can hold their own. They don't fuck around. And they're backed by multiple different countries who will step in if necessary. And that could very easily lead us into nuclear annihilation, World War War III, all of those terrible things that we've been worried about for a very long time. So the idea that, you know, Speaker Johnson is out here telling President Biden that we have to be prepared to send American troops to die for Israel and Iran is disgusting. And I can't, it's again, beyond my ability to comprehend how anybody could be advocating for this.
Well said. I'll move on to the next little shotgun segment here. Now, this is fun. This is a fun segment here, and something that I've been explaining before. And I think that we are living in a golden age of independent media right now. The access to smart motherfuckers like Sam Husseini that we have as working class people. And that's why as someone, I'm not a liberal, guys. I know I may be too mean sometimes, but I do think people need to take fucking responsibility, man. In the age of 2024, there's not a lot of excuses for anti-intellectualism because the golden age of independent media, the access of information that's available, you can be a working class person like me, someone who I'm not academic. I was a college dropout, but I can be a working citizen journalist because of the merit of my work. Because you guys know I'm gonna tell you the truth, and I'm gonna do citizen journalism the best I can and educate my people. That was not how it was before. Journalism was a nepotism profession, and we can go on the whole history of it, but I don't want to be too long. But it was a working class profession. It was hijacked by the capitalist class because they realized how important controlling the flow of information was. So then they made it so the only way you can get in print media, the Wall Street Journal, the New York Times, Washington Post, any big newspaper, if you come from nepotism, if you come from capital, there are fucking idiots that took journalism classes, Misty. And the reason people take journalism class is not because journalism class teaches you anything useful to be a journalist, because anyone can do it. You take journalism, you get a journalism degree, you take a master's in journalism so you can network with rich people. You guys understand that's why they do it? Has nothing to do. The people who went to college for journalism. You went to college for journalism, bro. How stupid are you? Listen, they're not stupid. They do it for the connections because that is what journalism is all about. The journalism degree is all about siphoning people who will not do the bidding of the establishment. We know this by manufacturing consent. They can't read people's mind. They don't know who immediately will be a sellout, but they want to see who's going to go through the process. Whoever is able to get a master's degree in journalism, who go through these programs, these payless jobs working for these reporters, they know that they're going to be good and well behaved. Now, that's a long intro to essentially show you guys this hilarious story, showing how that model is dead, and we are now living through an era of meritocracy for the most part. I say that with an asterisk, guys, because obviously there's a lot of fuck shit going on with the algorithm. A lot of people get boosted and other people get slept on. But for the most part, if you do good work and you do good journalism, someone will listen to you. You will have an avenue to educate people, which is why I believe we're in the golden age of journalism, and the mainstream media cannot keep up. So now here's the headline. I pass to you, Misty. Axios is now laying off 50 people across the company. And as a Marxist, this is the only time you guys will ever hear me celebrate mass layoffs, because these are people who are propagandists of the highest order. The same New York Times and the Washington Post. I did a hot spot on how the New York Times and Washington Post are doing mass layoffs. Right now, we are seeing corporate media die as independent media thrives. So, Misty, I'll pass to you for any thoughts on the death of corporate media and why. Actually, why do you think people? So you have a starting point. Why do you think people are not tuning into corporate media no more?
Well, you know, this is one of my favorite topics to discuss, because there's nothing I enjoy greater than the slow and painful death of mainstream media. It is a fantastic thing to witness. I've said for years that mainstream media, in my opinion, is one of the greatest threats that we face as a species, really, as a global population. They are the ones that sell the wars, are the ones that manipulate narratives and all of that stuff. They propagandize people. They cause the division and the chaos and all of that stuff. So mainstream media needs to die. It is fantastic to watch that happening. And I do think that you're right. I think that we are are in kind of this golden age of independent media, and it's great to see it growing and thriving. However, I will kind of throw a caveat in there that while it is growing and thriving, a lot of what I talked about earlier is also happening. And so I think it's important to be mindful of who you're supporting, of who you're watching, learn to vet sources, learn to double check places that you're looking for information. I think there's a lot of people in independent media who will steal the work of other people and then present it as their own. And you can't trust those people. There's a lot of people in the independent media space that are shady individuals, and they are also doing it for personal advancement. They recognize too that mainstream media is dying, and they recognize that opens up this hole where that they can now slide in and start making a ton of money off of independent media, off of being mainstream media light, which we were talking about earlier. So I think that while independent media is certainly thriving right now and will continue to grow, we also have to be careful about the way that, as you talked about, the algorithm, the way that they're silencing people. People are still being shadow banned and suspended on Twitter, on across all platforms. YouTube obviously is still atrocious. So when you find somebody that you think is relatively trustworthy and that you appreciate their work, make sure that you're amplifying that stuff as much as you can to kind of get through the algorithm. Support them financially if you're able to. But really, I think sharing the work is huge. I think that a lot of people minimize how effective just a retweet can be and getting more eyes on something. So you have to be careful about who you're supporting. And the media firings, these 50 people from Axios, this is not the first. There has been numerous dozens of stories over the course of the past, I don't know, maybe 5 years or so, of media outlets having to fire a shit ton of people because that method of journalism is dead. I think that there is an extreme amount of distrust in the media, as we have seen from polling, which, polling you have to take with a grain of salt, but I think that it's abundantly clear that people do not trust or respect mainstream media outlets anymore at all. And that is, they've done that to themselves, right? They are paid propagandists for power. That is exactly what they do. When you have, this segment sponsored by Boeing, do you really think that you're going to get actual information from that news outlet? No, you're going to get war propaganda. And that is exactly what they've been doing. I think that the American public is not dumb. They are kind of, but I think that a lot of people recognize that game, and that's, the game that's being played there. So I'm happy to see mainstream media dying. I think that they've created their own demise, and I think that that's fantastic. So, and as much as I'm cautiously optimistic about the future of independent media, because again, like I said, there are a lot of really amazing, Vanessa Beeley, Eva Bartlett, Sam Husseini. There's tons of Craig Murray, John Pilger before he passed. There's tons of people who are doing genuinely incredible work, going to the places that they're reporting on, doing, putting themselves in danger to get the story. All of that stuff is happening, and I think that that's great. But there are obviously very nefarious opportunists who are trying to get in there and take over, become the new mainstream media, as we talked about earlier, the mainstream alternative media. We're seeing that take place too. So I think that we have to just be careful about the people that we're elevating, but we should be doing that anyway. So I'm happy that mainstream media is dying, and it cannot happen good enough or fast enough. Cannot happen fast enough.
The Washington Post, that's the story I was thinking about. I now remember it was the Washington Post, not the New York Post. To correct myself earlier, it was the Washington Post, not New York Post. It was the Washington Post when they had a big fight. I did a hotspot video on it. You can search our channel. Just look up Washington Post. You'll find it. Just use the search bar. I did a video about it where they had this meeting, and the journalist was there, and they was upset about the layoffs. And the guy finally had to drop. He was pretending to be nice. They eventually said, "Guys, they're not reading your shit." And that's why I did the video. I thought that was funny. Guys, these articles I'm showing you guys, no one's reading them. And your point, Misty, is I am 100% in agreement with, but I think it's evidence that we are in a golden age. The fact that they have to crack down on social media, the fact that they have to show their hands, and they have to forcibly be authoritarian. Remember, liberals pretend to be for your rights as long as you're not threatening them. But the fact that they are engaging in such extreme acts of censorship shows that we're in a golden age right now. But that's why
Julian says that censorship is always cause for celebration.
Yeah, and that's why I said you're taking the story, because it's with the knowledge that they are coming after said golden age. It's why we need to wake the fuck up, and that's why we should have been supportive of Julian Assange, which is still a massive W for Misty. That's why we got to stand for free speech and the freedom of the press aggressively because we're in the golden age now, but there's not a guarantee that we will stay there if the fascists get their way. That's my point. Misty, last word, and then we wrap up.
No, I don't really have anything else. I agree with you that I mean, obviously I'm slightly biased because that's been, the thing that I've been most focused on. But in my opinion, the fight for free speech and press freedom is literally the front line for everything else. You cannot fight for anything unless you can speak. And they are actively amping up the authoritarianism and the censorship. And while, as Julian says, censorship is a cause for celebration because that means that they are scared, that they know that they have to control the narratives and they know they have to silence dissent because it is reaching people and being effective. So I think that is accurate, but I think that's why we need to be all the more, I mean, I hate to use the word militant, but we need to be militant in our support of free speech and press freedom and consistent. We need to be consistent. Even if somebody you do not like, you hate, you revile is being censored, you need to stand against it because every time that you allow them an inch, they will take a mile. And if you allow somebody you don't like to be censored simply because you don't like them, it will come for you. We've seen that time and time again. So just be consistent. It's hard. Listen, I have actively supported and spoken in defense of people that I do not like. But I think it is far more important to be consistent on principle than to let your fifis get involved. You know what I mean? Like it's not about you. It's not about what you like or what makes you comfortable or uncomfortable. It's about supporting the principle because they are coming for all of us. And one of the first things fascists do is silence people and censor people. So that is, I mean, we have to be legitimately militant on that issue and consistent because otherwise we're not going to be able to speak for long.
There are a lot of these progressive people. Some are bad faith. Those are the people that we discussed the most today, the people that are bad faith. But let's discuss the people who are actually good faith who are falling for this. These are the people, and once again, you guys know I'm a softie. You guys may disagree with this take. But these people have been beaten up, and these are the people who fall for the propaganda that Crystal Ball put out there, the people that like Hassan. Because my timeline is war right now. Like before I went live, it was crazy because I was ratioing all these people. I got all these viral tweets calling this out. When I check it again, it's gonna be fucking nuts because there's a war on my timeline. There are people who I believe that are legitimate that are pushing back on me because they don't know what to do. I've seen it. If you're interested, look at my timeline. There are a ton of people who are upset with me because they say, Nick, what you're saying is not helping. What else can we do? So I'm gonna end the stream and I'm gonna ask you, Misty, what should they do? The people who feel so, and once again, these are not the evil people. These are the people who feel so beaten down that they feel like they have no choice but to support genocide. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna end my stream for call to action because I've been telling people the belief that you have no choice but to vote for the genocidal scum is nihilism and defeatism of the highest level. We must embrace revolutionary optimism, no matter how unlikely it is for us to win, no matter how unlikely it is for us to succeed revolution. Everyone must do their part so we can overthrow this Zionist capitalist regime so we can all start living better lives. So the answer to that question, I'll pass to you if you want to chime in, is we need to get in the streets, organize with our community, and provide for our material needs, first and foremost. Now, Misty, I'm sorry I answered the question first, but I want you to take it on. What would you say to the good-faith people who literally just feel defeated?
First of all, I hate when people, well, what else do you expect us to do? I hate that. There are so many things. There are so many things you could be doing other than voting for genocide. It is, I mean, listen, as you know, I firmly believe that electoral politics is a lost cause. The entire system is rigged front to back, top to bottom. It does not matter what you do. You're not going to get any substantive change from electoral politics. They'll never allow it. And people, and I'm often called a defeatist and a nihilist for having that opinion. That's just reality. That's the real world that we are living in. And so when you ask what can we do, there are so many things. First of all, yes, getting in the streets. Hello. There's plenty of protests happening on a regular basis you can go and take part in. Putting pressure on power is always a good thing, but participating in mutual aid. If you have some land, start a garden, start a community garden, learn to fix things, learn to sew, learn to build things, shit's gonna hit the fan, y'all. We are an empire in decline. And I hate to be a Debbie Downer or whatever, a negative Nancy, but that's just reality. We are an empire they're in decline, and it's going to get really bad. Like, we think it's bad now. We have no idea what's coming. It is absolutely going to suck. And I mean, again, I hate to sound pessimistic, but I'm just trying to be a realist, and I'm trying to get people to recognize where we're headed so that they can prepare themselves the best that they can. So, I mean, listen, I used to make fun of preppers. I was wrong. I'll admit it. They were absolutely right. Prepare yourself as best as you can. I mean, yeah, seriously, prepare yourself the best that you can. But you can organize outside the system, start building parallel structures, start learning to barter with your neighbors. I barter with my neighbors. We have a field. My neighbor across the street comes over and he comes and he bales it for hay. And then in exchange for that, he'll come over and plow our driveway in the wintertime and help us around the house, like with, different things. So, I mean, just start bartering, creating those relationships. I'm surrounded by farmers. We have great relationships with them. Start doing that kind of stuff. Get involved in your community, meet your neighbors, talk to them, get to know them. There's so many things that people can do. And this, I guess the only thing I can do is vote for genocide is mind blowing to me. You don't have to vote for genocide. You just don't. I mean, listen, I don't think that voting at all is a worthwhile venture. But if you're gonna vote for Jill Stein, who's the only anti-genocide candidate available, if she's on your ballot, which, I mean, the Democratic Party has made that pretty impossible for her. But I mean, it's not something I'm going to do because I don't give a shit about voting. I think it's a lost cause. But at the very least, if you're going to go vote, you don't have to vote for genocide. You can write somebody in, write in Julian Assange, write in Mickey Mouse, who gives a fuck? But I mean, it's a completely ridiculous notion that the only options that we have is voting for genocide. That's just not, I am never, ever, ever going to betray my principles and my morals to go vote for some scumbags who want to kill a bunch of Black and brown people in a foreign country with my tax money. I'm just never going to do that. That's not ever going to be a thing that I can do. So there are plenty of things available to you to do other than voting for genocide. And the idea that, every 2 to 4 years you can go vote to slap a couple new parts on the giant machine designed to kill us all is going to help. It's not going to help. I mean, we need change right now. People are genuinely suffering right now. And this idea that we can, we were fed that line that, if we just get a few more progressives in office, we don't have time for that shit. And we've seen the way that getting progressives in office does nothing for us. They've all been completely co-opted. They all serve power now. So that whole, we just got to get the squad a couple more members. They don't even vote as a block anyway. So that's a ridiculous notion in and of itself. So plenty of things you can do. Get involved in your communities, get involved with mutual aid and organizing and preparing yourself and learning new skills, meeting your neighbors, developing those relationships. All of those things are very easy to do, and they don't require a lot of money. All they really require is just some time and effort. And it's, I don't know, I'm kind of ranting now. I'm sorry, but it gets me fired up when people, I'm called a defeatist for being realistic.
No, that's revolutionary optimism. Anything we hear, bro, I had so many exchanges where I would say this stuff, we need to organize our communities, and people are like, what did that do? Like, you're the defeaters. We are the revolutionary optimists. We got to end it some way. So I'm going to end it here because we can literally bounce ideas off forever. Thank you for joining us, Misty. And just like I said with Nico, I got to literally make a stop eventually, or we will go forever. I saw Nico this on Friday. The only difference really between Nico and Misty being an RBN member is that if they was an RBN member, they would have to make content for the channel. That's the only difference. They in community with us. I consider them RBN in the community. That's literally
I've been the mascot for years.
Yeah,
I've been the RBN mascot for years.
RBN members that you don't upload shit on our channel. That's it.
Yeah,
that's the only difference.
I think I was one of your first 200 subscribers on YouTube.
Yeah, we've been friends
way
for
back in the day. Yeah.
I cannot stress enough how much respect I have for Misty. So thank you for joining. Make sure you guys follow her. We definitely gotta have you back on soon. We gotta do Nico, Misty, and Nick here very soon.
That's always fun.
We're gonna do that here very soon. I'm gonna reach out to you both of you. We gotta do that here within the next few weeks. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. I'm gonna end it here because we gotta end it somewhere, right? I don't have anything planned tomorrow, but I may do a breaking news stream because who knows when this Iran shit is gonna pop out. So to be clear, I don't have any guests scheduled for tomorrow, but I may do a breaking news stream if I have time. I may have something I want to cover. I don't have my schedule with me right now, but you guys know we've been booking these fantastic international intellectuals, and obviously we have our friends. We have Fiorella on last week as well. John Payne was a banger. JB and Savvy had the Horn of Africa podcast on. I'm really greatly enjoying this new era RBN. It's great to be in community with all you guys. Thank you guys for listening. See you around. Take care.